Kim Jong-un's 10 most perverse rules. One person's crime punishes 3 generations, and the top one is a nightmare for women. As the world's most closed-off country, North Korea's politics, economy, and cultural beliefs are entirely different from those of other nations. If you visit North Korea, you must remember these 10 rules. Violating any of them can have dire consequences. Welcome to Peak's World. Today, we'll take a look at Kim Jong-un's most perverse rules. Subscribe to stay updated with exciting content. Number 10. One person's crime, punishment for 3 generations. North Korea is one of the countries with the lowest crime rates globally, thanks to its stringent laws. Among these is the ancient practice of collective punishment. If someone violates the law or is imprisoned, their grandparents, parents, and children are all sent to labor camps. This policy, known as one person commits a crime, the whole family suffers, can even extend to distant relatives. To avoid implicating their families, North Koreans are taught from a young age to be cautious and law-abiding. A single misstep can lead to imprisonment for the entire family, a fate no one wants. Number 9. Internet ban. The internet is indispensable in today's world, but in North Korea, its use is strictly prohibited and controlled by the state. According to statistics, fewer than 10,000 people in North Korea have access to the international internet. Instead, North Koreans use a national intranet, which is also heavily restricted. Only a select few can use the internet, isolating North Korean life from global connectivity. Despite this, North Koreans don't feel inconvenienced by the lack of internet, as they enjoy a variety of traditional forms of entertainment like watching TV, listening to the radio, reading newspapers, and visiting libraries. Interestingly, North Korean television has only 4 channels, some of which only broadcast on weekends or during the evening. Number 8. Prohibition on talking to foreigners. North Korea is known for being a conservative and closed society. North Koreans rarely interact with foreigners and are cautious around strangers due to the security education they receive from a young age. Foreign tourists face restrictions, such as not being allowed to go out alone at night and having to stay with guides during the day. Even in public places, taking photos is heavily regulated. Public buses may not be accessible to tourists to prevent interactions with locals. Tourists are advised to ask their guides for directions if they get lost, as locals are reluctant to help to avoid trouble. Number 7. Collecting feces. To increase crop yields, North Koreans collect and store feces annually to use as fertilizer during spring planting. This practice is strongly supported by the government, which even assigns quotas for families to collect a certain amount of feces. North Koreans have become accustomed to this task over generations. The use of feces as fertilizer improves soil structure and makes more land suitable for agriculture, aligning with sustainable land use principles. Number 6. Only 3 TV channels. In North Korea, there are only 4 TV channels, 2 of which are only available on weekends and the other 2 only broadcast in the evening. Watching South Korean dramas is forbidden, and smuggled South Korean dramas have become highly sought-after contraband. North Korean TV content mainly glorifies the Kim family, which might only appeal to the older generation. Number 5. No Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is one of the most ubiquitous beverages globally, but it is unavailable in North Korea. Before 2015, both Cuba and North Korea banned the sale of Coca-Cola. Even though it is now available in Cuba, North Korea remains the only country without it. North Koreans rely on domestically produced beverages, such as Pyongyang Cola, which meets their needs. Number 4. Regulated hairstyles. North Korea enforces strict regulations on hairstyles, with 28 approved styles, 18 for women and 10 for men. Haircuts are free, and the government provides coupons for regular haircuts. Men cannot have beards and women cannot dye their hair in bright colors. Unmarried women typically wear ponytails, as loose hair is considered inappropriate. Number 3. Prohibition of cohabitation before marriage. According to statistics from international health departments, the incidence of AIDS in North Korea has gradually declined in recent years. In 2006, North Korea even claimed that there was no case of AIDS in the country. North Korea's achievements are mainly due to a weird rule: prohibition of cohabitation before marriage. In this open era, cohabitation before marriage is commonplace in any other country. However, cohabitation before marriage is even illegal in North Korea. Article 11 of the North Korean family law clearly stipulates, without marriage registration, it is not allowed to live together as a couple. This means that if the above law is violated, there will be imprisonment. Many people will be curious. Young men and women are at the age of impulse. Why do they want to kill their budding thoughts like this? On the one hand, cohabitation before marriage is prohibited by law. which can better protect the health and rights of North Korean women. This regulation can allow women to gain more pure love. On the other hand, the prohibition of cohabitation before marriage also means that the freedom of love of young men and women in North Korea has been greatly restricted, which can better control the thoughts of teenagers. Can this law really control it? North Korea is not a vegetarian. Let me tell you one of their practices. North Korean hotels are prohibited from opening to North Koreans. The only hotels are only open to foreign tourists. Even if foreign tourists rent a hotel, they must provide documents proving their husband and wife status. Otherwise, the opposite sex cannot live together. It's really a case of when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Number 2, prohibiting taking photos. During the tour, taking photos and checking in is an essential process. Taking photos as a souvenir is a common thing for tourists to do. They can even upload them to their social accounts. But in North Korea, there is no absolute freedom to take photos. As we all know, the North Korean government attaches great importance to military affairs, and taking photos can easily expose information related to the North Korean military. North Korea also prohibits taking photos related to the leader at will. Even statues or photos of the leader are restricted in North Korea. If confidential photos are posted on the internet at will, they will face North Korean punishment. In this way, North Korea's military confidentiality is still quite high, which is understandable as a tourist. Moreover, North Koreans are worried that once the photos or videos are leaked, it is likely to affect North Korea's international status and image. And they are also worried that people with ulterior motives will use these contents to deliberately discredit North Korea. North Korea's customs, soldiers, and street security will always pay attention to the behavior of passers-by, and even have the right to check all mobile phones and cameras. Once they find photos that are not in compliance with regulations and confidential, the relevant personnel will immediately delete them. Don't think you can relax after the investigation is over. The authorities will continue to monitor you until you leave North Korea. Foreign tourists must be well behaved, otherwise they will be unable to fly under the supervision of many people. Number 1, private car ownership is not allowed. If you travel to North Korea, you will find a very special phenomenon. The roads in North Korea are very wide, but there are few vehicles and the speed is very fast. Cars in Pyongyang also turn on their headlights during the day. There are no new cars here. Most of them are cars produced in the 1970s. How do North Koreans live without private cars? To be honest, with transportation so developed today, it is hard to imagine life without private cars. In North Korea, private cars are not owned by individuals. Only government and military officials have state-equipped cars. Ordinary residents mainly rely on walking, riding bicycles, and taking public transportation to travel. Some people think that commuting will be very hard, but in fact, North Koreans' work is mainly allocated by the state, and they usually live near their units. There are few places where private cars are needed. If you own a motorcycle, you are considered a wealthy family. Only people with high social status or wealth can afford a motorcycle. Moreover, the bus system here is very developed, and there is also the deepest subway in the world. Traffic lights are rarely seen on the roads in North Korea. There is no traffic jam even during peak hours on busy roads. The traffic control on the streets is mainly female traffic police. Don't worry. Although there are no traffic lights, there is rarely any traffic chaos here. After all, there are so few cars in North Korea, so it is really unnecessary to install traffic lights. What do you think about this? These are the 10 most bizarre rules under Kim Jong-un. Which one left the deepest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. See you next time.